is that I see a lot of, I guess, a lot of challenges when it comes to reputation. My name is Ahmed Al-Najjar, and this is Monday Legal.
Good morning. My guest for today is Christine Maksoud. She's a senior lawyer at Tamimi Co, and she is the founder of the Mediation Hub MENA. Good morning, and thank you so much for coming.
Thank you so much. Good morning, Ahmed.
A lot of our audience are not legal experts, and they are not even lawyers.
Yeah.
So I would like that you explain in very simple language what is mediation and what exactly means for commercial deals or for commercial conflicts or partnership agreements or anything of that sort. How does it help the public?
Sure. So in very simple terms, mediation is a process. It's a tool that you can use to solve any commercial or civil disputes that you have. If you're addressing commercial business community now, I mean, any dispute that you have, you can actually solve it through mediation. The way it works is that you appoint a neutral third party. This third party usually should be accredited, should have some certain accreditation or courses in mediation. Also should be trained as, it could be as a lawyer or any other profession. It depends, but mainly it should have some legal background for his input to be more, let's say, valuable to the case. And this neutral third party will intervene between the parties and try to facilitate communication, for a certain period of time. You can agree with the mediator. It's a very voluntary process. It's flexible. You have control over it. You can decide how many sessions, how long it will take, who's the mediator actually, what kind of background he will have. You can actually also tailor any settlement you would agree on with the other party, no matter how complicated it is, or it has business components or technical components, or it's forward-looking, or even on past issues. So literally, it is in the control of both parties to design any settlement they want, as opposed to going to court or to arbitration, and then a third party who might not really have a good understanding of the background of the case would actually just read documents, in a very short period of time. He doesn't know considerations that you would have. And also the lawyers that are representing the clients do not really know everything about their business and what they need. So they get second or third hand, a version of the story, as opposed to you being the person who is involved and concerned, sitting there and you finding a solution to your problem.
Right. Why would the mediation be more successful than the regular negotiation that the businessmen can do with each other? I mean, at the end, the conflict will happen between partners or between a company and a supplier or its customer. Why would it be more successful than the negotiation that they can just do?
Sure. And we get asked this question a lot, to be honest. And the simple answer is you're not negotiating directly. When you negotiate directly, you usually have this adversarial approach, right? And you're not collaborative and you don't disclose really your interests. You just want to stick to position. And two people sticking to position, there is limits to what they can actually negotiate for. The advantage of having this neutral third party is actually you can disclose certain confidential information that we wouldn't really do in a normal setting of negotiation. You could use this third party neutral to deliver certain messages, to achieve certain objectives, to design certain negotiation strategy. And look, when a neutral third party hears both parties with their claims and try to dig deeper beyond the position that they are presenting, dig deeper into the needs, let's say, this is where they can see potential common ground for settlement, which is not usually available when you negotiate directly with the other party.
Do you think the cost element would be something that will let conflicting parties go to mediation rather than courts or arbitration, the traditional ways for conflicts?
What I usually say is going to mediation is not as opposed to, is more like just do it as a first step regardless. So whether it ends up with a settlement, great. If not, you would actually at least identify the issues in questions.
Does it work for smaller size companies like the SMEs or even the micro businesses that it's, I don't know, started between two friends, for example, if they're in a startup coffee shop or something like this, or it works only for bigger enterprises?
Both, effectively to both. I mean, for small businesses, for SMEs, I mean, they have the interest to go to mediation because they don't want to spend their funds or their investors' money on legal fees, right?
Yeah.
And they're busy building something. They don't want to waste time and resources on litigation and legal teams. You know, one of the reasons why maybe SMEs should in particular choose mediation as opposed to another mechanism. For big companies, it's the same. I mean, there are a lot at stake as well. I mean, you could lose your market share. You could lose a lot by, I mean, it depends on the dispute, of course.
Yeah.
But really, sometimes time is of the essence. And even for big corporations, because of all the risks and everything at stake, it's actually a good idea to go to mediation. And we see a lot of big corporations and multinationals have a corporate policy to include mediation in their contracts, and for a reason. And also, I would say, any dispute in general that has an element of uncertainty, it's good to go to mediation. If you don't know what is the applicable rule, or if there is a lot of complexity that you think, you know, a judge would not really be able to decide on it, a lot of business considerations or even technical, I think it would be you know, suitable for mediation in general.
Okay, I'm sold. I like it. It's amazing.
Are you going to put it in your retainers agreement?
Well, that's actually a very good idea. I would put it. I would think which service that requires this element, and I think it would be a very interesting addition. And I would be speaking to my clients about it. And I think it makes a lot of sense.
And also, you would preserve the relationship with your clients. I mean, how many times you have so many unpaid bills, but you keep, you know, pushing and pushing and pushing, but you can't do more than, you know, how many times did you actually sue a client for legal fees? Maybe.
I can't say that here, but I did, yes.
You did?
Yes.
Okay. You see, I mean, but that's it. That's it for the relation between you and this client, right? I mean, the moment you actually file a case, it's over. So I think mediation in these cases where there is a relationship,
right?
When there's a relationship, I think it works. It just works perfectly.
I totally agree with you. And I think this is probably the only way you have a chance to continue working together, have a chance to not break the business relationship between you and the other party, while actually running into a procedure or a process to resolve this conflict. Because with arbitration or litigation in general, the relationship is ruined. It's over. It's finished.
But having said that, many times during the arbitration or the litigation, you actually can attempt mediation. Now with the new mediation law in the UAE, you can the court actually has the option to refer the parties to mediation, or even you can ask the court to suggest mediation, of course, if the other party consent, because it's a voluntary process. So you can actually do that. And it has proven, I mean, in terms of statistics, that it works. The settlement rate is even higher because at that point, you have seen the exchanges with the other party. You know their legal position. They have started spending money on legal fees, and they have like been, informed about the next hearing in a few months, or, appointing an expert and all these lengthy procedures. And this is, I think, when they would realize the benefit of mediation and assess their best case scenario or best alternative.
Yeah. As an expert in mediation, you've been working for the last few years and advocating for it with the Mediation Hub and so on. What would be your advice on how to choose the right mediator for the right case or the right conflict? How does this process go?
It's a very key choice in the beginning of every mediation, honestly, because it will substantially impact the outcome of the mediation. And not any party can, feel confident or can trust any mediator. So yes, it is a very important step to overcome at the beginning. And, usually, I mean, if you go to mediation, it either your lawyer has recommended this for you, or you as a business owner, you heard about the concept, you want to try it. So really, it's about checking bios. It is about checking bios, but it's more than that. It's a character and a personality, and it's sometimes you cannot see behind the bio. So sometimes it's hit or miss, and sometimes you have to just go for the experts. On the Mediation Hub website, we have a big directory of professional mediators that we have vetted, and we have ensured that they they've had the accreditation and the experience and all that. And it's one of the plans, actually, and I'm happy you brought this up, because it's one of our plans for next year, is to create some sort of a marketplace for mediators. So you can actually go and choose a mediator based on their, for example, language skills, expertise, country, or any other criteria that might be relevant for choosing a mediator.
Okay.
We see that people have hard time choosing the right mediator. And also, this is why our platform is actually a place where mediators can promote their work. For example, can publish, can do interviews, videos, any promotional work to just show a little bit their character, and this can help a lot in getting leads for appointments. Again, we are a nonprofit. We're not a service provider, but our directory can serve a lot of mediation users to go on our website and choose the right mediator.
What happens at the end of the mediation? So there is a settlement agreement, or the charter or document that's drafted?
Settlement agreement.
Right.
Yes.
And how enforceable this is?
I mean, it is enforceable. As per the new UAE Federal Mediation Law number 40 of 2023, this settlement agreement, if the mediation is concluded through a settlement by a voluntary or even judicial mediation, it's enforceable. It has the same enforceability of a judgment. So you don't have to go into the process of, if there is a breach, you don't have to go through the process of enforcing a contract, a normal contract. This is actually a writ of execution.
I heard some opinions, especially from technical experts, especially in the fields of engineering or medical fields and so on, that they are calling for a mandatory step to have the mediation process before it goes to court or before it goes to arbitration.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
So mediation is a voluntary process, but adding it as a mandatory step is good. Is not a bad idea, because it forces the parties at least to try it. But then they can leave at any time. So they can opt out at any time.
Yes.
Nothing can force them to reach a settlement. But the fact that they give it a try, they just sit across the table from the other party, can hear the other party's position at least once, and then they decide if they want to leave or not, I think it's beneficial. In many countries and markets, how mediation developed, now very advanced market today, for example, in Europe and the United States and in Canada and other advanced markets in mediation, and some of them have adopted this mandatory process just to force the parties at least to give it a try, because most people do not know what mediation is. So just give it a try and just opt out if you don't, if you're not convinced. We did in the last year a lot of mediation advocacy trainings for our lawyers in the firm and for other lawyers as well, through DIAC and CEDAR, the latest one that we did. So in these sessions, I mean, I helped lawyers, to brainstorm ideas about how to make money out of mediation, because this is what lawyers care about, right? And I mean,
and justice. And justice.
Yeah, and that too. But you can perceive mediation as, yes, it might be taking some revenue away from you as a litigator, let's say. But at the same time, there are other benefits. If there is a mediation clause, I mean, you have no choice, right? Okay. And if you feel that your client maybe cannot afford high legal fees, I mean, you better advise them to go to mediation instead of, just losing the client for all, right?
Yeah.
And even in mediation as a lawyer, there are ways of billing for your time. If you bill on time spent, you can bill your time on time spent. There is preparation work. Even before you go to mediation, there is a strategy, negotiation strategy that you actually have to design for the case. But then you have to attend sessions with your client, right? You can also keep billing on time.
Or you can bill on successful mediation.
Exactly. So
it.
that's another one. I mean, you can do hybrid fees. You can have like a flat rate, but then get a contingency fee or a success fee, or even get a bonus if the matter is settled to 1 or 2 weeks. You can be as creative as possible in generating revenue. And also, if you think about it long term, I mean, maybe you lost this client as, for the litigation department, right? But maybe you gained this client for many other departments of the firm, right? If the client is happy, he will come back. And guess what? Maybe mediation wouldn't work, but then you will go because you have the case. You will go and you will, file a case before the court and then continue. So this is why I said, it's not really this or that. It could always be the first move. By the way, and then drafting the settlement agreement, right?
Yeah, that's quite legal, good legal fees as well.
Exactly. And if there is a breach, and you have to go as well to ensure compliance.
Yes.
And then you advise them on next steps. So,
we're very creative on how we will charge. It's not a problem.
Exactly. And also, the role of the lawyers has been really one of the factors for developing mediation in many, many markets. And everyone recognizes that there's a conflict of interest, right? So in Singapore, for example, to really remedy this, they have asked, and there is some mandatory mediation process in Singapore, and they have, if the client decides not to go to mediation, they ask them to submit a letter confirming that their lawyer explained to them the benefits of mediation and the process, and they decided not to try it because they know. Because sometimes lawyers just skip this step.
I think in labor courts and in family courts, this is a mandatory step.
Correct.
In every jurisdiction almost. But this thing with the letter in Singapore is quite a practice. It's quite a practice.
They don't
really.
Trust lawyers.
No. Wonder why. How big is the mediation departments right now? Even the most modern, open-minded law firm that is accepting mediation percentage-wise compared to litigation?
They're usually a smaller group. Okay, but we see, I mean, in the Middle East, Tamimi was the first actually law firm to launch a mediation practice. And now we are training. I mean, we started, me and my colleague, David Holloway, and now many other lawyers from the firm are being accredited as mediators. And also we're doing a lot of training for mediation advocacy to most of our lawyers and the disputes team, because we see that this gonna really, pick up at some point, and we wanted to be ready for it. A lot of clients now, after we launched this practice and we're promoting it, we've received a lot of requests for clients inquiring about the process and even including mediation clauses in their agreements.
Do you have to lobby with your colleagues in the contracts drafting, or you have to lobby with the clients directly?
I think both, but yeah, I mean, we're always asked by clients, isn't it a waste of time? Isn't it a step that is just gonna waste our time before we go to the next step? And here the role of the lawyer to actually explain to them that it's not, because also many lawyers see that it is, and this is a challenge.
Yeah. Where do you see the Mediation Hub in a few years? Like, what's your bigger plan?
I really see it as maybe the biggest marketplace for mediators. I see it, running a wider, initiatives. Not only, I mean, we started in the UAE, but our aim is to expand. I mean, it's a MENA initiative. So I see it really expanding.
How hard is it to become an accredited mediator? Is it expensive?
Not really.
Okay.
Not really. It's a very short process, let's say. It's a minimum of 40 hours of training. But I think what's more important than being accredited, because this is something you could get through. But I think what's more important is to practice. And this is why one of the plans that we want to focus on for next year for the Mediation Hub is to procure shadowing opportunities for our members, especially the rising mediators. We have a category for rising mediators, and we've noticed that with local talents, there are very few opportunities to practice and to shadow. And this is why I wanted to, focus more on the demand side of mediation. And on the demand side, we've seen, we have the law. The law has been there for a couple of years now. We have mediation rules from, arbitration and dispute resolution institutions in the region. We have a lot of trainings available and courses from really reputable training institutions. We also see a lot of promotion and events, everything, and even government entities providing mediation services. But still, you see that mediation is not valued.
It's not taken seriously.
No, it's still underused, underutilized, undervalued. And the reason is because there is no demand for it. And where the demand come from? It comes from lawyers, of course. And not all lawyers are, maybe trained or have, even knowledge about mediation. So that's the first hurdle. The second hurdle is even business community. Business community do not know what mediation is. So we need it, and you can see it everywhere in the world where mediation was developed is through community work, is through nonprofits, is through changing the culture, is transforming the culture. And I looked around and was like, who is doing that? And how are all these stakeholders in this ecosystem of mediation collaborating or even, having conversations with each other? There's no conversation. I mean, everyone is doing one initiative on their own. Very little collaboration. So, I met with two other mediation enthusiasts, Dr. Ahmed Al-Uzun and Judge Mahmoud Murad. And, we came up with the idea and we decided to just start maybe the first independent organization that actually has a mission to promote mediation as a concept. And, of course, providing a platform for mediators to meet, to collaborate, and to work together and promote their work. So this is how it started, and honestly, it's been a great journey. We did a soft launch a year ago. We started little by little, and then during Arbitration Week, we did this big launch, and we have a lot of plans for the upcoming years. And we're very excited about all the people who supported, all the people who believed in it from day one. We had a lot of people that we barely started, and people started reaching out and wanting to be part of this. In less than a year, we had more than 80 members. And,
wow.
And we're still growing, and we're developing more categories as well to have more people joining on other categories. So today we have professionals who are experienced mediators. We have rising mediators who just got accredited, and they want to see how, they want to practice, they want to shadow, they want to even be mentored by experienced mediators. And this is what the platform also provides for. And we have volunteers. A lot of volunteers. These are students or other legal practitioners that just want to be part of this. And now we're introducing mediation advocates for all lawyers, because we know that mediation advocacy is going to be really a skill that almost all dispute resolution lawyers should have at some point. So we created this category. And there's also a very unique category. It's called mediation ambassadors. And this is for people who not necessarily are mediation practitioners, but they are very enthusiastic about supporting our mission and helping us, spread the word.
So shout out for all your efforts. Thank you so much for introducing this initiative in the UAE. And I think hopefully it goes and expand in number and outside as well. of the UAE to the whole MENA region. And we will put the website for the Mediation Hub. All the mediators, please try to join the initiative and try to make the best out of it. And everybody who doesn't know about mediation, please listen to the whole episode and understand it, learn about it, try to save yourself time, emotions, money, and loss of business by trying the mediation. And thank you very much, Christine, and thank you for educating us about the mediation and the Mediation Hub itself. It's a beautiful concept, and I think everybody should learn about it, understand it, and try to use it as well.
Thank you so much, Ahmed. Thank you. And I really invite you to join our Mediation Ambassador category. You did a great job just now.
Thank you very much. I'm all in. This is your dose from Monday Legal. See you next week.